Testing 1 2 1 2. Hello friends, what's going on, and welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. And of course, welcome back to Chelsea News, which of course is the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea Football Club across the board over the internet. I give you my thoughts on it, but more importantly, as always, asking for yours as its community that keeps us together. In today's video, first of all, Chelsea have signed a footballer. That's very funny in November, getting a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. But it's, yes, you're right, another South American that's 16 years old. We used to laugh at this until we stopped laughing when Estevao arrived. So who knows, maybe a superstar. Under 21 goals from two Chelsea forwards, which is a positive. Less of a positive, Jamie Gittens coming off injured, who of course isn't a starter over Garnacho at the moment, but is still a useful player and has scored a golazzo for Chelsea, so fingers crossed. Speaking on injuries, Wesley Fofana's spoken out on how Maresca's handling his reintegration into the Chelsea side. You know me, guys, I am a Wes super fan, so I was very interested to have a quick glance over these quotes, but I'm interested in sharing the entirety of them with you, my friend. And stats, we all enjoy stats. Turns out it's being really well received from you guys here on the channel lately, so you know what, I was thinking, ooh, who can I pull up stats for at the moment on the new graphic? Well, I was thinking, you know what? Yeah, we've been playing well, but a huge story has been the absence of Cole Palmer, who of course, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, is returning after this international break. And I thought, everyone's talking about Estevao, rightly so. You know, but a lot of people have forgotten what we're missing in Cole Palmer. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun and do some understat comparisons of our superstar. Get the positivity brewing for his return and some high profile games, of course. We're playing Arsenal and Barcelona very quickly. So as always, thank you for joining me here on today's video. You're all welcome, so thanks for liking the video. That's very nice of you to support the content. Dropping your hype points down here somewhere, commenting, sharing. We are like 300 subscribers off 200,000. So if this video gets what, like 20,000 plus views or something, imagine if 300 of you who aren't subscribed just said, you know what, today's the day, Jan. Today's the day that I subscribe to Football Therapy. You could be a difference maker, a needle mover, a trailblazer. Well, maybe not trailblazer, but a good supporter. Anyway, I've spoken enough in this intro, so let's get into it and start off with some confirmed Chelsea news, which is very funny. Fabrizio Romano posts on X exclusive, Denier Ordonez to Chelsea. Here we go. Agreement reached for the 16-year-old talented defender to join the Chelsea Football Club project. Independiente de Valle, or is it Valle? I'm not sure. Accepted all conditions as Chelsea anticipate 3 top European clubs. The Ecuadorian will arrive in January 2028. So Chelsea fighting off 3 big European clubs to the 16-year-old defender from the same club. Moises Caicedo arrived from also an Ecuadorian international. What do we think? Fun? Good? I mean, I'm at the point now, this was a meme not too long ago, wasn't it? Like, amidst the uncertainty in the Chelsea fan base, why haven't we got this guy? Why haven't we got that guy? Quietly, the team's got better. But, you know, we're yet to see Kendry Pires do well and Mike Penders. These are some of the sort of young teenagers we agreed signings earlier, and they're yet to arrive. But the one that has arrived so far is Estevao Willian, and we don't need to talk about him. He looks absolutely sensational. Of course, we have signed other good young players when they were teenagers. Andre Santos was one, and I think broadly Chelsea fans all agree Andre Santos is a sensational player, especially if you evaluate his 18-month loan spell at Strasbourg. He was incredible. He genuinely was incredible, and he's settling into the Chelsea team. He's only 21, and he's got, you know, so much experience already. He speaks multiple languages. He's had all these European experiences. He's captained Brazil's under-20 side to a championship. Great. So I'm kind of at the point now where I'm inclined, Giovanni Kenda, how can I forget him? Portuguese teenage winger who's literally joining us in, 7 months or something in the summer. That's very exciting. He looks mustard, that kid. So I'm starting to just be like, yeah, go on. Open up the international Chelsea kindergarten, get them all in, and if even like 1 out of 10 turns out like Estevao, I'll be happy. Let's be real. He's a defender. Defenders generally sort of reach their seasoned peak later. As you get further up the pitch as younger, and as you get further back, you look to more a sort of age, senior experience to the goalkeeper, and then the goalkeeper seemingly just goes on forever until they're 40 years old, if they're really good. So anyway, there you go. Here we go. I know absolutely nothing about him. I'm not going to lie to you. Why would I lie? Why would I know about a 16-year-old Ecuadorian defender when I'm just a mere Chelsea fan / content creator? But you may know about him. Feel free to comment if you do. And let's move on to the next part of the video. Marc Guiu scored a goal for the Spain's under-21 side. Oh, that's exciting. Not that exciting, because it was in a 7-0 win against San Marino's under-21 side. Now, scoring against San Marino's under-21 side must be like scoring against your local pub team's grandchildren. So, whatever. It's literally like positive vibes. Marc Guiu scoring a goal wearing, the Spain's under-21 kit. Remember, Marc Guiu is still a teenager himself. I sort of think of him in my head like as a 22, 23-year-old for some reason. But no, he's 19. Yeah, I think he's 19. So he is still one of Chelsea's teenagers. I'm pleased that he scored. That's enough said about that. Let's move on and speak about another under-21 game. And that is England beating the Republic of Ireland. You'll notice here, score sheet, Tyreek George scoring again for England's under-21s. This is really good. He's doing the business. He's having a weird season, Tyreek, because he's playing really well for England, at under-21 level. And he's sort of doing okay for Chelsea, as in, like, he's a contributor to a side in Chelsea that's sort of doing okay, well, third in the Premier League, which is pretty good. And of course, mid-table Champions League. It's not really the worst thing in the world if you're in the playoffs qualification. I'd still back Chelsea to make it through. And he's sort of been part of that, advancing in the cup that we've played so far. So he's kind of having a weird season in that it was disappointing he didn't get his loan move to Fulham, but he's still getting minutes. He's still playing well for his country, and that's a positive piece of news. But sadly, Jamie Gittens got injured in this game. And before we speak about Cole Palmer's statistics and Wesley Fofana's quotes on the injury, I do want to cite this next article. So the Standard write about Gittens' injury the following. Chelsea have been dealt an injury scare after Gittens limped off during England's under-21's victory on Friday night. Gittens, of course, who we signed from Dortmund, started the under-21 match and maintained their 100% record in the UEFA Championship qualification, of course in the aforementioned 2-0 win. However, the winger's involvement came to an end just after the hour mark. He appeared to sustain an injury, attempting to evade a tackle in the penalty area. Clearly struggling, the 21-year-old headed straight down the tunnel upon being replaced after the hour mark by Fulham attacking midfielder Josh King. Currently unconfirmed how bad the injury is, and you know what? It would be a loss if he's out for an amount of time, because we are, playing a lot of games. And of course, in that cup game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, where he won man of the match and scored that quite frankly obscenely good goal, it was a huge moment for him. And he has been generally playing well for the England under-21s as well, like Tyreek George. They link up well quite a lot on that team. And yeah, he's not been starting over Alejandro Garnacho. I think he's slightly younger than Garnacho. Garnacho has a lot of Premier League experience, and he's playing really well, and we're hoping to continue to see that from Garnacho. But he is still, getting a lot of game time. It says here he's actually made 14 appearances across all competitions for Chelsea. So yeah, regularly turned to as a contributor for Maresca's side. So hopefully he's not injured. If he is, maybe the aforementioned Tyreek George gets utilised as a left winger, or perhaps Neto moves over. Or maybe even we see Joao Pedro play on the left wing, which I would actually, at this point, be quite interested to see him play. I think he's a right footer, so the left wing would probably suit him over the right. I know on Football Manager he plays on either side, as well as striker and second striker. Very positionally versatile. But of course, for Watford and maybe Brighton, he played definitely on the left. So I'd be quite interested to see him there, because then you, of course, in certain game states, you can accommodate Delap up top, Palmer in behind, Joao Pedro on the left, and then maybe Schleve on the right, just to see how it goes. Lots of quality on there, lots of goal scorers. So hopefully Gittens is okay. We'll of course follow developments as they come here on the channel. And now let's move on and speak about what Wesley Fofana has said about Enzo Maresca. I'm getting these quotes from Absolute Chelsea on Sports Illustrated. Wes said the following regarding his injury. In football, it's hard to take your time because there's a game in every 3 days, but Maresca protects me and he pushes me in a good way. I had a hamstring surgery and you need to be careful when you come back. He doesn't take risks with me because he wants, step by step, for me to be able to play every 3 days. The target is to play every game. We need to carefully progress step by step towards that. Also, he protects me because he knows the type of player I am. Aggressive and fast and not scared to have duels on the pitch. This is true, and this is why I love Wesley as a player, because he is very, very aggressive. He progresses the ball up the pitch. He's a dribbler. He's very, very fast in terms of recovery speed, and he's very combative. That style of play, after you've had a serious long-term injury, is not conducive always to success and, good reintegration. But it's good to hear Wesley, who must be gagging to be play all the time, just say, yeah, this is the right thing to do. He's probably looking at how Maresca dealt with Reece James, and he's been appropriately reintegrated back into the Chelsea team, where he's just always fit and available now. And similarly, always fit and available for Thomas Tuchel's England, doing some nice flicks and linking up with like Jude Bellingham and stuff, looking really, really good. So Wesley Fofana will be thinking, yeah, I want that too. Also really interesting to hear him say, the target is for me to be able to play every 3 games. He's basically saying, I know I'm the boy, whether it's the sporting directors or Enzo Maresca. We know they all love Wes. They're like me, they're part of the fan club. The plan is probably to have Levi and Wesley Fofana just always available for high profile games. Premier League game, Cole and Fofana. Barcelona midweek, away from home, Cole and Fofana. Just like when you see like Real Madrid play, in Clásicos and then in high-profile games, they'll have the same partnerships. All these great teams in Europe. That's my target. I know lots of people have their own favourites. There'll be believers in Chalobah and some for Tosin still and Benoit Badiashile. A lot of people will feel he's underrated. Joshua Champong looks like he's got an incredibly high ceiling for a young defender. So different people will have different preferences in terms of who they want to succeed. But I do understand, and I've been quite consistent here on the channel speaking about it, looking at the sort of profiles of both Levi Cole, left footer on the left, passing centre-back, more of a sort of regista, playmaker, quarterback, whatever you want to say, and then the aggressive, dribbling centre-back next to him that pushes up, that carries the ball up, that's got great recovery pace to get back and, make tackles and stuff. It's a great combination. Theoretically, it should work really well, and they're both very young. I think, Levi's 21. I think Wes is still only 23. I think he's very young still. Let me just double check that, because I want to be sure when I speak to you guys about a player's age. He's 24. So he's 24 now. He actually turns 25 just before Christmas. But, it's still young, ultimately. When you're under 25, you're considered young. And he's good to go, hopefully. So we'll see what happens there, and we'll, again, all cross our fingers for the reintegration long-term for Wesley Fofana. Right then, let's do some Cole Palmer talk. Before I jump over to the statistics page, I just want to give you some context why I wanted to pull this up. Firstly, we've been doing a lot of stats talk here, whether it's FBref, scouting reports and looking at player strengths and statistics, or Understat, the platform I use quite a lot. It's a free platform. I'm going to use that now in just a moment to look at Cole Palmer comparisons to give us some context of how important he's been for us. Because, we went through that first season under Pochettino, like, they're Cole Palmer FC. And then the second season with Palmer, the first season with Maresca, we learned, well, they're not Cole Palmer FC. He dropped form for a while. He was injured. We still finished top 4 when we needed top 5. But then he comes back into the side at the end of the season. Palmer plays really well. Man of the match performance in 2, finals, a European final and the Club World Cup final. And they go, oh, right, he is Cole Palmer F. They are Cole Palmer FC. So the narrative changes. This season starts again. We sign lots of new attackers. So Garnacho, Delap, Joao Pedro, Estevao arrives. And suddenly lots of them contribute in different ways. But, of course, the headlines are taken by the young Brazilian sensation, Estevao Willian. And suddenly the narrative's gone again. Everyone stopped talking about Cole Palmer. It's kind of cyclical, and it's kind of been helpful that someone like Stevao's come in and he's just a sort of star quality attacker. That's taken that narrative away from Cole, but maybe people have forgotten a little bit how good this guy is. So with that, let's switch over to the stat screen and look at a couple of comparisons. So I'm going to compare him to a couple of players, and as you can see here, I'm starting with Bruno Fernandes. This is their entirety time in the Premier League, so it's a huge sample size. This player in Bruno Fernandes and the next one will have a much bigger sample base, but Cole Palmer's still got nearly 6,500 minutes, which is a good way to quantify average per 90 mins, which of course is what these stats are. Now, as you can see, I've taken Bruno because he is a really good player and an all-round sort of difference maker for Man United. But as you can see here, Cole Palmer blows Bruno Fernandes into smithereens. I don't know whether to say Fernandes or Fernandes, because there is that sort of Portuguese Brazilian pronunciation that I never quite get right. But anyway, as you can see here on the statistical comparison, the only metric that Cole Palmer is beaten is in key passes per 90, which is in the bottom left of the spider graph. And even that is you know, it's negligible. It's very, very little. But everything in terms of expected assists, shots per 90, expected goals per 90, goals per 90 is nearly double Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno, I mean, they both take penalties, to be fair. But he's, you know, XG build up per 90 and XG chain per 90, which is essentially how much you help the attack. It's still all Cole Palmer, man. It's absolutely devastating how much better he is. Now, for some of you might be thinking, yeah, fair enough, Jan, Bruno's good, but he ain't all that. Why are you comparing him to him? Right, I'm going to now compare him next to, again, someone who's got a massive sample size and is quite literally going to be very soon a Premier League Hall of Famer, and that is Kevin De Bruyne. As you can see here, Kevin De Bruyne, massive sample size again. But I tell you what, although Kevin De Bruyne is much more creative, or, you know, pretty more creative in terms of key passes per 90, expected assists per 90, and of course assists per 90 similar, Cole Palmer is more of a goal scorer, more shots per 90, more expected goals per 90, and more actual goals per 90, over a goal every other game in the Premier League for Cole. That is incroyable. And to be honest, in terms of the metric that governs helping the attack, XG chain per 90, which is 9 o'clock on this spider graph here, they're pretty much the same. So that is Cole Palmer helping and contributing to the attack. The same as Kevin De Bruyne, which is pretty darn amazing. KDB, of course, is an absolutely sensational footballer. Right? Not that necessarily you needed reminding, but I wanted to pull this up and have a look at these, you know, big sample size of Palmer, 6,500 minutes, but compare him to some players with loads of experience and generally seen as similar players in the midfield that help the attack a lot. We're missing an absolute superstar in Cole Palmer, and let's not forget it. Chelsea, of course, we're lucky to be in a position now where we are afforded to be very careful with him. Even if he's thinking, I can come back, I can try, they're probably saying, no, chill, let's get this right. Don't worry, Chelsea are still going fine. We're still near the top of the Premier League. We're still 6 points off top, which seems great, really, considering where we are developmentally. Without Cole as well, do you know what I mean? Like, don't worry. Don't feel pressurized to come in and, like, make the team better. We're good. When you come in, it's going to be very exciting. We'll start you. We'll start Stevao in certain games. You can build an amazing, attacking, entertaining chemistry. And every little thing is going to be all right. Cool, so that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed filming it. Let me know if you did. Please do comment down below. Thank you for liking the content. It is most appreciated. Thank you for hyping it, sharing it, all that nice stuff. If you do want to help me out and get me over the line, then why not subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you get notified when I upload and you won't miss any content, and we can develop as a community and grow. Very, very grateful for that. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the international football if you can. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living. I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines. I rap through thought. Body bag the verse. Outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble. Hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle. Bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper. Sorry, I don't. I laugh me, baby.